Is democracy being denied in Britain now? Keir Starmer's government is opening the door for many council elections to be postponed again, just as Labour is being crushed in the polls. Is this really the right move in a democratic nation? Today, we are also going to look into this and the key leadership principle of public accountability. Before we get into the details, if you love diving into political issues and enjoy hearing a principled take on them, then hit the like button, share this video, and subscribe to join the conversation. It will help our channel reach a wider audience.
Understandably, Sir Keir Starmer has been accused of running scared of the voters as he paves the way to cancel even more elections across the country. Labour have invited 63 councils now to postpone next year's local elections, which by and large that is sort of the midterm test, isn't it? The litmus test to see what people think of Starmer's leadership and give the public the opportunity to boot out councillors that they don't think are serving their purpose anymore. And this means that more than 10 million people more than 10 million people have been denied the right to vote, have essentially been disenfranchised. And half of the councils that are now going to go way past their sell-by date happen to be, yes, you guessed it, run by Labour. Now, methinks if this was any other party, particularly, let's say, if this happened to be a reform government cancelling elections, the screams of tyrannical regime, fascism, autocracy would be resonating through every single newsroom on the front page of every single newspaper. And yet somehow the audacity of the Labour Party, they just get away with it. What's your reaction to this story?
Yeah, I mean, what a month that Labour have had, right? You know, is this the month where they've proposed about cancelling jury trials and now cancelling the second year of elections in a row? Only yesterday we found out they're cancelling their lobby sessions for journalists in the afternoon. You know, this has all got the hallmarks of an authoritarian dictatorship government. And it's something I never expected to see from a Labour government, to be completely honest with you. But you are right. If this was happening on the other foot, if this was the Conservatives or Reform that were suggesting to cancel elections, there would be outrage. And I think the people need to realise at home, we've only ever had 4 elections cancelled in our entire living memory, which was obviously the war. We had the cancelled obviously for the war, and obviously we had cancelled for COVID, and then obviously last year, and then obviously potentially this year. You know, we don't cancel elections in this country. We run through them. And after the last World War, we had an election within 2 months. So this whole narrative of that the civil service isn't ready to hold elections and we've got to streamline things, in my opinion, just doesn't simply brush. In relation to councillors and then delaying elections, I'm a real firm believer that the councillors are elected for a 4-year term. They've got a democratic mandate for 4 years. One singular day past that 4 years and they lose their mandate, in my opinion, and the people are ready to vote.
It's the blatant hypocrisy of all of this as well. I'm surprised you say you didn't expect it from a Labour government, really? You hadn't been reading enough of the warning signals then.
Because we are expecting May to be significant politically, and now we're hearing that at least 60 councils are going to be given the option to delay those elections again. What do you make of it?
Well, the Conservatives we've made it clear, and I've made it clear long before this announcement, that we should not be cancelling elections. Elections are the foundation stone of democracy, and we absolutely should not be cancelling elections. What we've seen is the Labour government, both arrogant and naive and cocky, thinking they can completely restructure English local government all in one go. Scrapping police and crime commissioners, introducing mayors, getting rid of district councils, merging them with county councils, doing it all in one go. And of course, they've bitten off far too much. And what we now see in the opinion polls is that they are almost certainly going to have a really, really difficult night in those elections. And they've used their ineptitude as an excuse to hide from the voters. And it stinks, and we are completely against it.
So you're going to be instructing your council leaders to allow elections to go ahead, because a number of these areas that we are talking about are Tory controlled. It's Norfolk, it's Suffolk, it's Essex. I mean, it would be in their interest potentially to hang on until 2027.
Well, I've spoken to a number of the local government leaders, the Conservative local government leaders, and the message I've getting back over and over again, including Essex, including a number on the list that you've given, is that they have no intention of cancelling or delaying next year's elections. Now, the message that I've put out, the message that Kemi's put out, and the conversations that I have had and will have with our local government leaders will be consistent. British people deserve the right to choose those who make decisions on their behalf. That is the foundation stone of democracy. That is what we'll be pushing for, and that is the message I'll put out to political leaders of all persuasions. This is Labour running scared. We haven't asked for this. They are the ones that are pushing this, and they're basically trying to shift the blame onto local government leaders for their own arrogance and ineptitude.
Leila, democracy denied?
Definitely. Listen, if you're confident in your record, then you face the voters. And I think they're blaming it on some kind of reorganisation. Is that right?
Yes, they're saying there's reorganisation of local government. They say that is necessary.
Reorganisation happens all the time in democracies, and elections still go ahead. And I put it to them, perhaps you should reorganise after elections, not instead of them. The thing is, people vote for a certain term. So if you extend that term, you no longer have the permission of the voters to govern. You're basically giving yourself permission. And I bet you if we weren't polling so high, these elections would go ahead.
Yeah, it's a very, very good point, Leila, and certainly a number of people very, very annoyed about this and say that these elections simply should take place. And even if these bodies aren't going to be set up for another 2 years, well, elect the councillors for a couple of years. Do that.
Yeah, I mean, this is how democracy erodes, right? Quietly. It's not with a big revolution. It's quietly, bureaucratically dressed up as process.
What would you say, Leila, to people who would say to you that you defected from the Conservatives to Reform UK, so actually there should have been a by-election for you?
Well, because that's not how our electoral system works.
It can. Yeah. It can work that way.
Listen, if there was a big call for a by-election, I would consider it, but not one person has called for it apart from some Labour commentators on X. My priorities have not changed. In fact, I was elected on a set of priorities, and I felt that the Conservative Party had failed to prioritise and deliver those priorities. So I could no longer face my voters or my residents and say I'm still sticking up for you under the banner of the Conservative Party.
So what would you say then to Keir Starmer? What's your message to him about these local elections and what should happen? Because, of course, Reform UK riding high in the polls. There are many councillors there already, over 600 of them who are elected, some who've defected like you, and others who want to be elected candidates in May who won't get the chance to put their views and put their manifesto to the electorate. What would you like to happen?
Well, I mean, in a democracy, you just don't extend your own term. The voters do that. And anything else is illegitimate, because once you normalise cancelling elections, you normalise ruling without consent, right? Yeah. And so elections should happen on time, every time, even if the governing party is going to lose, because it's not about maintaining control. It's about asking consent from the public for you to govern. And the fact that they ask Conservative councils, I mean, it really is a political cartel protecting itself against reform. It's just collusion. The
Conservatives say, we spoke to James Cleverly earlier, the shadow local government secretary, saying that he hopes and has certainly said that Conservative councillors won't take the option anyway to have these elections later. We'll see what happens on that. We will be holding their feet to the fire on that.
Can I just come back on that? That's so disingenuous, because the Conservatives cancelled it in last May.
Yeah, it's a very fair point.
Elections are the foundation of any democratic society. Once leaders start postponing or cancelling them, the country begins slipping towards banana republic territory. In a proper democracy, representatives serve fixed terms. Then comes the election. If the people think you have done a good job, they might re-elect you. If not, it's their fundamental right to choose someone else who they believe will do a better job. These council elections in Britain are already overdue in many areas. Some were delayed once before, from 2025 to 2026. Now the government is opening the door for another postponement, potentially pushing votes back to 2027 in up to 63 councils. The British people deserve the right to decide who represents them. Sadly, Keir Starmer does not seem to agree. The government cites local government reorganization and devolution as the reason, but this looks far too convenient when accountability is on the line and the polls are unfavorable. The worst part? It is the working class who suffer most. Elections are their main chance to hold power to account and demand real change. Leaders must answer to the public they serve, not just party bosses, elites, or their own self-interest. Elections are how voters judge their record and deliver that verdict. Every poor decision Keir Starmer makes just erodes his credibility further. He always seems to choose the worst possible option. If you have truly worked tirelessly for the people, you should have no fear of facing the voters. Confident leaders welcome scrutiny, praise, and criticism alike. Postponing these overdue elections looks like putting self-preservation over duty. It places personal survival ahead of democratic judgment. In a democracy, you accept the wins and the losses. Putting off the inevitable because you know you have let down the people is not leadership. It is abandoning democratic principles outright. Has this delay in council elections directly affected your area, or do you see it as another blow to democracy? Let us know your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. If you have benefited in any way from this video, please subscribe, like, share, and be sure to leave us a comment.